take him out, probably kill a couple overlords while he's out and about, and this is gonna force a couple spore crawlers, maybe one at each base for the Zerg player. And here's exactly what Titan needs to do. He needs to respond to the aggression that the Zerg has been putting on so far. He needs to go out, do as much economic damage as he possibly can to keep the Zerg player from being able to just take over the entire map. But look at this. Nerchio's going to go ahead, push out a little bit. I don't know that this will do that much. These Phoenixes are going to be really, really obnoxious for these roaches. And great force fields right here, keeping these roaches just perfectly out of range of this Stalker, really isolating them. But there's the classic Titan mistake. He just basically gave away both of those sentries right there. He needs to be more careful about that. Now, granted, he did take out those roaches, which is great for him, but at the same time, he does need to be careful about just giving away those high gas units. Now, this is forcing Nerchio to throw down some spore crawlers, play a little bit more defensively. He has this spire, but he doesn't really want to use it yet. Those mutas would just get completely shredded by these Phoenixes. I really feel like Nerchio right now has to get some kind of infestor tech, maybe even corruptors if he really wants to be bold. But he needs something that can deal with these mass Phoenixes. This is a lot of Phoenixes for him to deal with, and oh, he's got to be careful. Once again, he does not want to give those up, and this is going to be a rough push by our Protoss player. A lot of Stalkers, these Phoenixes picking up a lot of roaches. Upgrades on these roaches, there are none. These Stalkers do have an upgrade advantage, so we'll see what kind of damage this push can do. It does look like it'll be pretty significant. But 18 roaches on the way right now from Nerchio. That's a ton of roaches that are going to pop out any second right now. And look at these Phoenixes. They really, really want to kill all of these overlords. Their hands are just itching on their triggers. They want to just kill as many of these overlords as possible. And these overlords need to get over this spore crawler so they don't get picked off so easily. And really, Nerchio needs to do something to deal with all these Phoenixes. I feel like fungal growth would be amazing. It would be very powerful. He'd be able to take out a lot of them at once. But his response is sort of to just spread out more. He does have 2 more bases up, so he's up 5 bases to 3, which will give him a huge economic lead if he can keep those hidden. If we look at Titan's view, he has not seen these yet, so he has no idea. Oh, and I don't know that this is the greatest engagement. Oh, he is focusing down that Immortal. A great play by Nerchio. But he is going to lose all these roaches, which is by no means ideal. And look at this, still getting Immortals out for Titan. That's a great idea. He sees these roaches, and look at this. I feel like I haven't seen Hydralisks forever. I feel like they've almost been made obsolete in most matchups. Just because, you know, they're so easily handled by Colossus, all those sorts of things, but they are so good against Protoss, especially if the Protoss goes for Stargate and Gateway Warp Gate play, because Warp Gate units are so vulnerable to those Hydralisks. And here we go. It looks like our Protoss player is finally going to come to find this base. Oh, I don't know if he did. Oh, now he is. Okay. But throwing 2 spore crawlers down right here, Nerchio is not going to tolerate any more than he has to. And look at this, these Zerglings going into the natural of the Protoss player, killing a lot of probes here. I don't know that it was wise for Titan not to pull those probes out. He needs to be really careful right here. I feel like Titan needs to stay more on top of his micro. I mean, he definitely has some strong builds. These Phoenixes are doing a lot of damage, but he just keeps on giving up a lot of really important units. Like, he gives up, in both games so far, we've seen him give up those sentries really easily. You know, a lot of these Phoenixes are taking quite a bit of damage from these spore crawlers. You know, we see him giving up Immortals, all these things. He definitely needs to be more careful with this. And if these Phoenixes get caught out of position over these Hydralisks, they're going to take a lot of damage. Now, it does look like Nerchio is going to lose this base. However, he does have this one up and running, which will be good for him. And as good as these Hydras will be, I don't know that he wants these Hydras out by themselves. They're going to take a lot of damage. And there we go, bringing in these Lings to tank a little bit of damage for him. He's going to come in, and Titan needs to be careful. He does not want to lose these high-cost units, and it looks like these Hydras are doing a ton of damage, but here come the Colossus. The Colossus are just going to chew through these Hydralisks without any trouble. One does go down, but if we look at the units lost, I'm interested to see what it is. Here we go. The Protoss player in a good position, only losing 8,200 as opposed to the 13,000 of the Zerg. So he is definitely playing well right now. He's definitely using his units decently well. I'm not going to say great. I still don't feel comfortable with how readily he basically gives up his sentries and his high gas units, but he is doing a good job. And here we go. We have Nerchio going for Corruptors. I would imagine Hive is almost done. There we go. We're going to see this go into a Greater Spire almost immediately. And this is kind of an interesting move. He's going to be able to get a lot of Broodlords, but he does need to make sure that he still has defense from these Void Rays that are coming out. If there are any Phoenixes left, there are no Phoenixes left. Wow, that's kind of rough for Titan. He lost all those Phoenixes, and that was a big investment from him. Now, granted, they did do a lot of damage, but I feel like he needed to be more careful with them. Here we go. No doubt, I would imagine these Corruptors, he's not going to change them over quite yet. Obviously, he doesn't have a Greater Spire, but he wants to use them to get rid of Void Rays and anti-air units before he turns them into Broodlords, I would imagine. And here we go. Titan really wants to pull down this, but excellent use of the Corruption ability, making these Zealots take so much more damage from those Lings. Well done by the Zerg player. I like that. I feel like Corruption is not used nearly enough by any pro player. You hardly see it used, and it's a great ability. I mean, guys, they take 20% more damage whenever they have Corruption on them. So the Greater Spire is almost done. He has banked quite a bit of gas and minerals that he can use to immediately change these into Broodlords if he wants to. And there we go. 5 Broodlords in production. And he's going to go ahead and supplement that with these Hydralisks. Now, interesting, I don't know that either player, we only have +1/+1 for the Protoss and no upgrades at all for our Zerg player. That is kind of strange, especially for this point in the game, and the upgrades aren't even incoming yet. And here we go, here comes the engagement. Now, this was good, well planned by Titan. He's engaging before the Broodlords spawn so he can do as much damage as possible, and I think he might have picked the money timing. These Broodlords, as much as they're going to do a ton of damage, these Void Rays are still out. They're going to be able to cut these Broodlords down easily, and look at the supply just plummet for our Zerg player. I really feel like Titan just did the hammer stroke right there. I don't think he's going to be able to handle this Death Ball. He's behind in upgrades. The tech right now for the Protoss is huge. He has a great counter for every unit that Nerchio has. He's got these Void Rays to use against the Broodlords. He's got these Colossi to use against the Hydralisks and the Zerglings, and then these Stalkers just to deal with any Corruptors that might come into play. And look at this, bringing in all these Void Rays, and I don't think the Spore Crawlers are going to be enough to save you here, Nerchio, but this is great play by Titan right now. He's playing very aggressively. He has the money spot on this map. He has the high ground right here, which is going to make this spot impossible to take for the Zerg player. And here we go. He is ready to push, to do great damage. And look at that. Nerchio not even going to bother trying to engage that army. He knows he does not have the tech to deal with it. Let's see if these infestors even had Neural Parasite. Oh, it's not even going to let me see. Let me check the... Where's the infestation pit? There it is. Oh, not going to let me see. But anyway, a great game by Titan. He did slip up in his micro, I feel, a little bit, but his unit composition was spot on. He chose his engagements right here when he engaged right before those Broodlords spawned. Was a beautiful play. A great game by both these players. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more games. I'm going to keep bringing them to you. While you're here, subscribe to my channel, like the video, make this easier for me to bring more games to you, and I'll see you guys at game number 3.